Every time you buy a coffee, order some late-night food online, or just pay for a subscription, you're tapping into this massive, hidden global network. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal the invisible architecture that makes all of that possible.
Have you ever really stopped to think about it? What is actually happening in that split second after you tap your card? It feels completely instant, like magic, right? But it's actually this masterpiece of financial engineering that honestly keeps the entire global economy humming along.
At its very heart, this whole complex system is designed to solve one of the oldest problems in the history of commerce: trust. How can a small shop in your town be absolutely sure they'll get paid by a tourist who's from halfway across the world? That's the billion-dollar question that needed an answer.
To really appreciate the genius of the system we have today, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go back to a time when commerce was literally constrained by paper. Welcome to what we'll call the old world of payments.
So back then, everything, and I mean everything, ran on physical cash and paper checks. Now, that's fine if you're just buying from your local grocer, but it was a massive bottleneck for a growing global economy. Just think about it. Commerce couldn't really scale, the risk of fraud was huge, and just getting paid could take weeks. These weren't just little inconveniences. They were fundamental roadblocks to progress.
The leap that we made from that old way to the new way was nothing short of revolutionary. We went from a system that was local, slow, and risky to one that is truly global and practically instantaneous. From just hoping you don't get a fraudulent check to having managed, predictable risk. The difference is, well, it's like night and day.
So, the world was hungry for global commerce, but it was completely stuck with this archaic paper-based system. The solution? It required a whole new kind of financial architecture, a truly revolutionary idea that would change, well, everything.
And that revolutionary idea was the payment card network. You know the names: Visa, MasterCard, American Express. They did so much more than just put little plastic cards in our wallets. They built an entire infrastructure of rules specifically designed to create trust between a buyer in New York and a seller in Tokyo, who'd probably never ever meet.
The source material we're looking at puts it perfectly. It was a rules-based infrastructure that centralized credit risk with issuing banks. And that right there, that was the secret sauce. All of a sudden, the merchant didn't have to worry if you were good for the money. Your bank took on that risk for them. It was just a brilliant, elegant solution to a huge problem.
And this trust wasn't just based on a handshake. It was built on 4 incredibly solid pillars. First, universal standards, so a card from any bank worked at any terminal anywhere. Second, really clear economics that defined how everyone in the system gets their piece of the pie. Third, sophisticated fraud monitoring to protect both shoppers and sellers. And finally, super strict compliance requirements to make sure everyone played by the same set of rules. This was the blueprint for a global trust network.
And the result of all this? This new architecture just blew the doors of global commerce wide open. Suddenly, any merchant, whether it's a small artisan shop or a giant multinational corporation, could confidently accept payments from pretty much any customer, anywhere on the planet.
Now that foundation was laid decades ago, but its design was so strong, so robust, that it became the bedrock for everything that came after. So let's take a look at the modern payments ecosystem that was built right on top of it.
I want you to think of that original network architecture as the solid steel foundation of a skyscraper. Over the years, new technologies allowed all these innovative companies to build new floors, adding new capabilities and services, but every single one of them relies on the strength of that original base. And if you look at that skyscraper today, wow, it is bustling with activity. You've got processors who act as the digital messengers, gateways that securely connect online stores to the network, and all these amazing fintech platforms like Stripe or Square that package it all up in new, really user-friendly ways. It looks incredibly complex from the outside, but it's all built on that same solid foundation.
So here's the key takeaway. Despite all of this incredible new technology and this explosion of new companies, the core logic, the DNA of the system remains exactly the same. That standardized multi-party framework that was designed all those years ago to create trust is still the engine driving the whole thing.
So why does this little trip down memory lane even matter? Well, because this invisible architecture, it's the bedrock of your digital life. Every single time you stream a movie, order your groceries, or book a vacation, you are relying on this system to work flawlessly. Every single time.
If there is one single, most important thing to understand from all this, it's this: one foundational concept.
A rules-based network for creating trust at scale is what makes our entire complex world of digital payments even possible.
You see, every aspect of modern payments, from how transactions are priced, to how risk is managed, to how new apps are built, it all traces its roots right back to this foundational architecture. If you understand the roots, the rest of the tree makes perfect sense. So here's a final thought I want to leave you with. This incredible 20th century piece of architecture still powers our 21st century digital world, and that's a huge testament to its brilliant design. But as technology accelerates faster and faster, it really begs the question, what's going to be the foundation for the next century of commerce?